How are you feeling today? Do you feel fulfilled in life? The show will begin in 4 minutes. Are you ready? When was the last time you felt betrayed? When was the last time you felt loved? The show will begin in 3 minutes. Are you ready? What did it feel like to be in love? What is the most painful part of being in love? The show will begin in 2 minutes. Are you ready? Are you ready to be transformed? Are you ready to make a change? The show will begin in 1 minute. I hope you're ready. The show will begin in exactly 30 seconds. Get ready. What if I told you your man could eventually cheat on you? What if I also told you if you just knew the signs, it could be painfully obvious to you before it ever happens? If that sounds like something you want to be certain about, perfect. Because on today's show, we're going to be discussing 5 signs men give before they cheat. That way, you can know exactly what your man is thinking and feeling before he even gets an opportunity to act on it. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. Chat, how are you all doing on this beautiful Monday afternoon for me? Maybe Monday night for you. Okay, how you guys doing? Who we got up in the chat? So we got Gabriella in the TikTok chat. We got Dragonfly here. We got Kia here, Mello here, RB here. We got Zyra here, Jessica here, Samantha is here. We got Rosemary here, Adorable here. And of course, we got our moderators, Sharice, Scotty, and I believe SH is here as well. If she's not, she'll probably be here a little bit later, okay? Who we got up in the YouTube chat here? Let me just scroll through. Okay, we got Jazz is here. She was first today. We got Ivy here, one of our amazing channel members. We got Rihanna is here. Like Rihanna or Rihanna like Rihanna? Okay, we got Elise here, we got Sylvia here, welcome, we got Irina here, we got Amal, one of our amazing channel members. Who else is a channel member in here? Shout out to all the channel members, hopefully I didn't miss any. And we got BB here as well in the YouTube chat, and of course, we have Missy America holding us down in the YouTube chat. How are you all doing today? Let's get this party started, okay? I'm hyped up, it's Monday, I'm refreshed. I hope you had a... Let's drop my eraser. I hope you had a great weekend. And chat, let me know, how was your weekend? You got to say it up in the chat if you had a good one. You went on some dates maybe, hopefully some good ones that didn't end tragically, or you just hung out with some friends. How was all of your weekends? Okay, I want to know, I want to see it because, you know, I'd be reading this back. All right, let's get started with number 1. Okay. Now, I'll warn you, all of these will be slightly painful to hear me talk about. And the reason for that is because when I'm discussing these, some of you might realize that the guy you're dating or the guy that you like has done some of these things before, okay? So, oh, hold on. My TikTok chat doing some weird... Let me restart the TikTok chat. Hold on. Sorry chat. Sorry TikTok. You guys gonna have to get restarted there. Okay, so one of the things that you're gonna notice as it relates to the topics we're gonna discuss today is that unfortunately, you might realize that the guy you're with or the guy that you've been talking to is exhibiting some of these behaviors. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that because he's exhibiting any one of these 5 behaviors that he is for sure cheating on you. But what I want you to understand is when a guy is about to cheat on you, he will exhibit one of these 5, I should say, sorry, I said 4, 5 behaviors, okay, right? So you might notice one and you might say, damn, does that mean that that guy is necessarily cheating on me right now? No, but I want to warn you so you know what to look out for. So number 1, in terms of routine break. Now, this is very important for you to be thinking about. When you meet a guy, and I want you to start paying attention to stuff, this is part of joining the Players Club, right? I want you to be more detail-oriented, you know, like I say at work, detail-oriented in the way that you go about relationships and the way you absorb information. People are humans, are creatures of pattern and habit, meaning they're likely to do things more than one time and build a habit out of those actions. So you have to be paying attention to the men that you're dating and the men that you're spending your time with, what those habits and actions are. So let's start off here with an example story that's going to exhibit exactly what I'm discussing today, okay? So let's imagine your guy works at, let's say he works at Microsoft. And your guy works at Microsoft, and every day at Microsoft, he has a 1 hour commute, meaning it takes him exactly 1 hour to go from home to the office every single day. Now, in the process of him going from home to the office every single day, he gets really bored in the car. He's not really a fan of audiobooks or listening to music. And, that commute, while painful, he gets good money. So it's whatever. And so in the process of passing this commute, let's say you and your guy get into this habit of whenever he's driving, right? So he's in his little car. Let me draw a nice car here for you guys, okay? He's in his little car. And every time he's in his little car, he always calls you up, okay? So every time he's traveling in his car and he's commuting back from work, he always calls you up for 1 hour while he's on his way back from his job. And you get accustomed to this routine of whenever he has time in his car, no matter how his day went, even if you guys sit on the phone and talk about nothing, he will call you, right? After he finishes work and on his way back from his commute. And so this becomes like your relationship routine. Okay, so I want you to pay attention to this because this can apply to many different situations or scenarios, right? When you start building a relationship with someone, not only will that individual guy or man have his own routine, but you will also, with him, start to begin to build what's called a relationship routine, meaning how you guys like to go about things in your relationship on a daily and weekly basis. You'll start to have a routine of your free days. You'll start to have a routine of your free times during the day, lunch breaks, right? And the times where you guys are communicating the most. Now, the reason I want to bring this up to you is because let's imagine in this scenario here where you have a 1 hour commute and your man regularly calls you for a 1 hour phone call on his way back from work. Let's say all of a sudden, he stops this hour phone call. And he's still working at Microsoft, right? He's still working at the same place. He still has the same hour commute. But all of a sudden, on his way back, now you get no call anymore. And the next time you speak to him, let's just say you ask him, hey, so what happened? You never really call me after you finish work anymore. What's going on? And he says, oh, well, I just be so tired. I just feel like just sitting in the car and lounging and relaxing after work. I just don't want to bother you. And you're like, bother me? You've been calling me every day after work for the past 8-9 months. All of a sudden now you don't want to bother me, right? And so this is a perfect example of what we would describe as a routine break. When a man builds a routine with you on how he's going to communicate with you, the times he's going to talk to you, and the times he's going to be accessible to you, and all of a sudden, this routine drastically takes a change, okay, out of seemingly nowhere with no clear external circumstances to you. Now you know that you're missing information. You're going to notice a pattern here or a theme in all the things that I talk about. Anytime you start to notice differences outside of the norm, that means that you're missing information. And the information, a lot of the times, can be what's going on in his mind, in his heart, in his soul, and in his spirit about how he feels towards you or how he feels towards his relationship. So your intuition will likely start to make you nervous when you start to notice things like this. And I want to help you understand, this is why we have this show, because I'm a man. So when I communicate it to you, at least then you'll avoid gaslighting yourself into feeling like, you're wrong or what you're thinking is over the top or just a lie, because there is truth to it. People and human beings, they create habits. And when they start to break those habits, there's a reason for that. It's not just because randomly they feel like breaking that habit. So if you notice in this example where your man is calling you after work every single day, and all of a sudden, randomly, he just stops calling you after work, that's classified as a routine break. Now, one of the things, what you're not going to do is you're not going to freak out. What you have to do in each one of these scenarios that I give you here is you have to begin digging deeper, meaning you have to get curious and start trying to figure out, okay, clearly I'm missing information. So how do I fill in that missing information and understand what's going on underneath the hood? Why is he no longer calling me? Right? You have to start thinking to yourself, if he's no longer spending his time calling me, then what is he spending that time doing? If he's just spending that time doing nothing, why does he no longer have a desire to call me anymore when he used to have that desire to call me? Okay? Routine and pattern breaks are so obvious that something has changed within his heart, mind, and within his spirit. Okay? I hope that makes sense to you guys so far. Does it make sense? Do you guys have any questions about number 1? Okay. Now, let's hop into number 2. I need a better eraser here. Is it my eraser? Anyways, let's hop right into number 2, okay? Someone said, Rosemary said our feelings are going to get hurt this episode. It's okay. When you're learning, even if your feelings are hurt, you'll learn something. And as you learn something, you'll be smarter and more knowledgeable because of it, okay? So, point number 2 is a lack of empathy. So when you're dating men, what I want you to understand is there's an inherent level of investment that man should have in you if he's going to be dating you, right? Obviously, he likes you, and in a lot of cases, he loves you. So you have to understand with that comes what we would call criteria that must fit if you guys are going to be in a romantic relationship. Meaning, if the guy that you're in a romantic relationship with actually loves you and cares about you, he's going to care about your life. He's going to care about what's going on with you. And when you're happy, he'll be happy. When you're sad, you'll be sad. So let me give you an example of lack of empathy so that you can understand exactly what I mean here. Okay. So let's say when you're at work, right? At work, let's just say you have a really, let's say, okay. You have a B word boss at work, okay? You know what I mean by a B word boss. And it's really difficult to deal with this boss, right? She says stuff to you that just rubs you the wrong way. She throws you under the bus when it comes to projects. She takes credit for your good ideas, and then she blames all the bad ideas on you. And it's just a horrible experience being at work with this B word boss or B word manager that you have, okay? And so when you come home, right? You like to talk to your man about what is going on in the workplace, what's going on with your boss, and you like to express yourself and just be honest about how you feel, because when you're at work, it's so hard and you just gotta hold it in, and you gotta hold your tongue and not say anything about what's going on because you don't want to get fired. And so the overwhelming feeling of emotion that you get in having this conversation with someone that you care about and talking about something that's close to your heart, can be quite emotional. And so you start, right, when you're talking about the situation, right, it makes you a little bit sad. And, there's nothing wrong with being sad. You have a Jennifer Aniston haircut, okay? There's nothing wrong with being sad. And in the process of being sad, you cry sometimes. Look at your tears. Look at your tears. You're crying, right? And here's the thing, though. See, when a man loves you and cares about you and is invested in you, and he sees you sad and he sees you crying, we have a human, I guess you could call it, thing where when we care about someone, are able to empathize with them even if we're not going through the same things. And so, even though your man is not in a bad mood, when he hears you talk about all the things that's been going on in your life, he then also is sad. right? He feels bad that you've been treated so badly at work. And he feels bad that, things have been happening that you don't like and that you have a B word boss. Okay. So what does he do whenever you're sad about work, right? Let's just say, right? He cuddles you. You eat ice cream together, right? He takes you to your favorite ice cream spot. He does things to cheer you up that he knows will cheer you up whenever you come home and you're really sad about what has transpired in your workplace, right? And with your boss so far. Now, let me help you understand how lack of empathy plays a role in this, because what you want to know is that this is a natural occurrence in a healthy romantic relationship. Now, what becomes unnatural, meaning there's something going on here that you need to look into, is if when you tell your man things that are sad to you or things that make you emotional and you're crying or you're sad or you're upset, and you're noticing a lack of response from him, meaning he's not really crying, he's not really upset, and he doesn't really have a desire to console you. He's instead of being sad or trying to cheer you up or seeming to mirror your emotions, he's more like this. And when you're crying and you're sad and you're upset, right? Instead of cuddling you or consoling you or taking you out to your favorite ice cream spot when you're sad or upset, he just goes, "Oh, there. So sorry for you that you're sad," while you cry and you bawl your eyes out. And so you'll start to notice a little bit of a disconnection between how upset you are, but the fact that he doesn't seem to care that you're upset. It doesn't even seem to bother or affect him that you're upset. And remember what I said earlier. See, what's natural to occur when a man is emotionally invested in you and in this relationship is it's natural for him to mirror your emotions. He's invested in you. He loves you. He cares about you. So when he sees you upset, what's going to come naturally to him is to mirror that same emotion. You're sad and I care about you in your life. So now I'm sad as well. Not necessarily that he'll start crying, but he's going to be able to feel the intensity of your emotion and respond appropriately. Are you following what I'm saying? So what you're going to start to notice if a man is showing signs that he may cheat is that his response emotionally to you being upset or sad will lack empathy, meaning it will not correlate to the intensity of the emotion. You'll start to feel like he is detached from whatever is going on in your relationship, especially as it relates to what's going on with you emotionally. And this is one of those things that's very hard for men to control if they're not there emotionally, right? Because, we say men aren't stupid, they are a little bit emotionally stunted. That's the good and amazing part for you, because it's really hard for men who don't feel emotionally connected to you, right, to fake that emotional connection when it's actually not there. Are you following me? But it's great for you because now you can know for sure something is going on if you're noticing a lack of empathy and a lack of that emotional connection that should be there with your romantic partner. Are you following me? So it's very important to take notice of this, and especially to take notice of if this begins to change over the course of time in your relationships, right? And you want to be aware of how he responds or what level of empathy he has to you in your relationship, especially if before he was giving you cuddles and taking you out for ice cream, and all of a sudden he no longer does that in your relationship in response to your intense emotions. Okay? Does that make sense to all of you so far and why that's so important? Okay. Take notice of that because it's very important in your relationships. Guys are not capable of faking, right? Well, I shouldn't say they're not capable. It's very difficult for them to fake that emotion, especially when they don't actually care, okay? Because that's when they're the least invested, and it's hard, really hard for them to fake that level of emotion and caring when they actually don't, okay? So you want to be paying attention to that. All right, let's do number 3 here. Now, number 3 is a very interesting one. Okay, so number 3 is when men begin always agreeing with you. I want you to take notice of this, all right? Especially when it becomes like a pattern change, meaning that it's something that hasn't regularly happened, and all of a sudden, things that you guys used to not agree on, now all of a sudden you guys are agreeing on everything, and you don't seem to have any issues, any fights, any disagreements whatsoever. I know that sounds, like a Disney princess movie, and it sounds like it's so amazing, like a fairy tale. Oh my gosh, me and my man will never argue, we'll never fight, we'll always agree. But in reality, when this drastically changes or takes a 180 flip, that's because there's something under the hood going on that you're not yet aware of. And we want you to discover, which is why we're having this show today, okay? So, number 3 here, right? Let's say for the sake of example, you love vegan food. And you're just, die-hard vegan. You stick to the diet ever since you switched. It's been making you feel so good. It's been making your stomach feel better. You don't have issues. You don't have no more diarrhea. You just feel like $1,000,000. You go hard in the gym ever since you've been vegan. So naturally, because you feel so good being vegan, you want your man to experience that same level of goodness. But however, your man is like, look, I love you, I care about you, I want to be with you, and, I want us to build this relationship, but I'm not doing no vegan stuff, okay? I don't like no vegan. I like eating meat, okay? I like steak, I like ribs, I like pork, not, but you get my point, all right? So let's just say your man is, okay, no Diddy, all right? He's a meat eater, all right? And you love your vegan food. So whenever you guys are trying to figure out what restaurant you're gonna go to tonight, there's always a back and forth between the two of you of, hey, let's go to a spot that serves vegan food. And he's like, hell no, I wanna go to a steakhouse, I wanna eat meat. He's a meat eater, right? And you're like, no, I don't wanna go to that steakhouse. They don't serve any good vegan meals. We need to find somewhere with a good vegan meal at least that I can have the option of getting. And so all the time, you guys are always disagreeing, or you have to spend an hour trying to find the perfect spot that has vegan meals, but also has some good options or something like that. And you guys end up going back and forth about this a lot in your relationship. Okay, so let's imagine that that is what regularly happens. Now, let's imagine a scenario in which things start to change. And see, when you recommend you guys going to a vegan spot, right? And let's say now when you say, hey, there's this really nice really nice vegan restaurant that we can go to, what you're expecting is for him to say no, or for him to give you some pushback, okay? because you've become accustomed to the fact that your man is a meat eater and he doesn't like to go nowhere that doesn't have no steak, no chicken, no other options other than just the vegan stuff, okay? And that's something you become very aware of in your relationship with him. And then all of a sudden, right, you recommend a vegan restaurant now and he says, sure, let's just go. And you're thinking, oh, okay, maybe he just was in the mood for vegan food, I guess. So you go to the vegan restaurant, he doesn't say anything, you guys eat and you guys go home. And then the next couple of days happens and you're like, hey, I found another really good vegan spot for us to go to. Do you want to go? He's like, sure, let's just go, whatever. And then you're like, huh, okay. So you go to the vegan spot again, and now you've been there 2 times in a row. And remember, you were expecting him to say no, but he just said, it's all good, we'll go, whatever. And when you get to the restaurant, you guys chat, he doesn't complain, nothing. So now on the 3rd day, you're asking him to go to this vegan restaurant, right? And again, he's like, sure, we'll go to the vegan restaurant, it's all good, no issues. Now, you need to start getting concerned, okay? And the reason you want to start getting concerned is because of 3 asks. A man who used to be a meat eater, used to push back against any time you would offer to eat vegan food, all of a sudden is no longer saying no or having a problem with going to a vegan restaurant with you. And he simply agrees always. You need to take notice of that, because that is a sign that things might have changed within him, within his soul, within his spirit, and within his feelings towards the relationship. Now, before I explain more, I want you to understand, okay? Because some of you are thinking, Tomisin, that's so toxic of you to say. You're telling me that when a guy actually wants to do what I want to do, or when a guy finally, just says yes and we have an easygoing relationship, I should assume and accuse him of cheating because having a nice, easy life is not something I should want or have in my life. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I want you to take notice of and what I want you to take from this is when you notice a pattern of behavior. This is why I always talk to you guys about learning people. Dating men and dating individuals is about learning them, learning and understanding them for who they actually are. When you learn and understand who they actually are, then you then have the answer, whether or not they're someone that you want to be with or be in a relationship with, right? But you're not going to change that person. So I say that to say, if you notice that his regular, normal pattern of behavior is to not be okay with going to a vegan restaurant, and all of a sudden he begins agreeing with you on things that he never used to agree with you on, right? Just for the purpose of not having to go back and forth and argue, there is something going on. Because, see, here's the thing. When a guy becomes or is starting to become emotionally detached from you, he will not care about standing up for himself or speaking his mind in the relationship. That's a problem, because when he begins to emotionally detach from you like that, there's now space for him to be emotionally attached to someone else, okay? Because the reality of it is, if a man is emotionally invested in you in this relationship, and there are things going on that he dislikes, he will never be able to always agree. The only time he'll be able to always agree and not speak up for himself is if he is no longer invested in this relationship, that he no longer cares to even speak his mind. So whenever you have a situation where a guy who regularly speaks his mind on particular topics or particular subjects all of a sudden stops speaking his mind totally on that subject or topic, now that's a cause for concern, because that's a pattern break. That's similar to a routine break, except instead of it being a routine in terms of commuting back home, this is an emotional routine break, right? When you're learning someone, you understand how they react, respond, talk about things, talk about themselves, go about your relationship, that becomes what you learn and understand them to be. When you start noticing drastic 180-degree differences after knowing someone for quite a period of time, that is a cause for concern always, okay? Pattern breaks, routine breaks, whether emotional or physical, are always a cause of concern. Does that make sense to you guys so far, okay? Oli says, do all 5 of these have to be true for it to be happening, or a few? Any one of these could be happening as a sign that your man is about to cheat. Why? Because any one of these could be happening as a result that he has become more detached emotionally from the situation, or he's become emotionally invested in someone else, okay? So I want you guys to realize that, right? And understand that, right? And I'm not saying this and giving you this advice to make you paranoid. The reason I'm giving you this advice is to help you stop gaslighting yourself into believing when you notice these signs that they're nothing. Because when these signs are happening, especially when you notice multiple of them happening at once, it's not nothing. And your first inclination when you start feeling these things or noticing these things is to not listen to your intuition or to gaslight yourself into believing that nothing's actually happening, okay? And I'm here to kind of confirm for you, if you've ever been feeling that, or, you know, or are currently feeling that it's not nothing, okay? Especially if I'm giving examples that you can directly relate to in your relationship or have been able to relate to, okay? Does that make sense? Right? Oh, someone said, can you repeat all 5? They are all available on my YouTube channel because I'm live on YouTube at the same time as I'm live on TikTok. So any of you that came late and you want to rehear the points, just go on my YouTube channel. I'm pointing on the top right corner of the screen because it's above my head. My name is the YouTube channel, so just type in Tomisin Atobatele. Go on my YouTube, find the live stream because I'm live there right now as well, and you'll be able to rewatch all the points there. Okay, so that was number 3. Okay, now number 4 here. Number 4 that I want you to pay attention to is energy levels. And the reason I talk about energy levels, because remember, I told you guys about pattern breaks and routine breaks. Energy levels is one of the things that you want to take notice of in the man and the partner that you have. Because, yes, he's going to get tired from work. There will be some times where he has less energy than others. There will be some times where he's more excited and more upbeat than others. But what I do want you to take notice of is his regular pattern of energy levels. Meaning, if he goes to work and when he comes back in that first hour, that's when he's the most tired, cool. And on the weekends, let's say he doesn't work and that's when he has the most energy, cool. But I want you to be observing that. Because one of the things that you're gonna notice in your relationships is that when a guy's energy levels drastically change, something has changed. Okay, so let me give you an example so that we can all be on the same page. All right, so let's say, for the sake of example, you and this guy that you're dating, right? Let's just say, every Sunday, you and this guy have what you would describe as Sunday fun day, okay? So let's say one day out of the week, you and your man like to have a day where you eat junk food, you eat whatever you've been seeing on TikTok or on social media, and you guys order it, or you go there and you pig out. And on that day, you guys laze around, you don't even take showers, you don't even brush your teeth, you just enjoy each other's company and you eat some great, amazing food. That's your Sunday fun day, okay? Now, let's say this guy, right, during the week, let's say during the week, this man works 12-hour shifts, okay? So during the week, he's a pretty tired guy because working those back-to-back shifts can be pretty exhausting. Okay. So this is why the reason I bring you this is because I want you to notice the difference between natural patterns of energy levels and a drastic change in those energy levels. Okay. So let's say on the Sunday fun day, that's your day for you guys to enjoy yourself, and he loves it. You love it. That's your thing that you guys like to do. You have your little code words. Oh, I hungry. I want this. I like this. And you guys have fun on your Sundays. Now, this is his regular pattern of behavior in terms of his energy levels. During the week, he will be more tired because he's got his 12-hour shifts. Saturday, he gets to relax a little bit, maybe go out with friends. And by Sunday, he's more energized and ready to go out with you and ready to go and do things, okay? Now, let's say all of a sudden, right, on these Sunday fun days, when he used to want to go out with you and have fun, let's say all of a sudden now he has no more energy for Sunday. He has no more energy to go out with you for that Sunday fun day thing, and he just wants to sit at home and do nothing. So the first week that he wants to sit at home and do nothing and no Sunday fun day, you're like, okay, I get it. You know, you've been working hard. Maybe this weekend it's just not your vibe. And maybe this weekend it's just, you know, we'll wait till next weekend and we'll go out. But then next Sunday comes, and again, he doesn't want to go out. So you're like, oh, okay, 2 Sundays in a row. Okay. I guess you've been really tired. You've been really just not feeling it, right? And the same thing again next Sunday. And then all of a sudden now you've had 3 Sundays in a row where you and him have not gone out for your regular Sunday fun day. And what is his number one excuse for not having any energy to go out for your Sunday fun day? Oh, I'm so tired. I'm tired. If I wasn't so tired, I'd have energy to go out for the Sunday fun day. But you know, I just want to lay down. I just want to relax. I'm not really in the mood anymore. Take notice of that. See, because regular energy levels have him able to go out for Sunday fun day. And that's been your routine. That's been your regular thing that you guys do. All of a sudden, things that he used to have energy for, used to be excited about, all of a sudden, he's too tired to do those things. That's a change in energy levels. And see, you're thinking, oh, you might see this or notice this and think to yourself, oh, maybe it's just because he's been working more, or maybe it's just because he had a more stressful week. But when you start to notice a shift, right, on a consistent basis of what used to be his energy levels where you guys could go out on a Sunday fun day despite him working his 12-hour shifts, all of a sudden now he's too tired to do things, and you're going to start noticing this compound into other areas, right? Let's say, for example, you and him also like to cook on your Wednesdays. Let's say he works shorter shifts on the Wednesdays. Instead of 10-hour, 12-hour shifts, he works 8-hour shifts on the Wednesdays. And that's the day where you guys like to cook. And now all of a sudden he doesn't have energy to cook. He doesn't have energy to go out with you. He doesn't want to do anything with you. He's just overall too chronically tired for anything. See, what's really happening here is not that, oh, he just magically became tired. What you're experiencing here in your relationship with him is that he is lacking a lot of motivation now. Okay? And I'm not talking about motivation to go work out. I'm talking about the emotional motivation to invest himself into this relationship. Why? Because that means what it usually means is that he's beginning to emotionally detach himself from this relationship. And so his internal motivation to continue investing in this relationship, right? And to continue doing things in this relationship, making it fun, making it enjoyable. Because remember, I said Sunday fun day, right? Sunday Fun Day is like your way of connecting with each other in a way that's not, oh, I'm working. What are you doing today? What's your schedule this time? When can we meet? When can we eat dinner, right? That's your way of continuing to date each other. And so when men are showing signs of, about to cheat on you, if they haven't already, is that they will start to not have energy to date you anymore, to have fun with you anymore, right? They won't have the motivation to go their extra mile with you anymore, right? They won't have the energy to maintain the relationship anymore. Because make no mistake about it, your Sunday Fun Day is maintenance of your relationship, keeping it fun, keeping it light, keeping it interesting. But when these energy levels go down because they're lacking motivation to maintain the relationship, you'll start to notice a lack of desire to do anything, right? Because all he wants to do is sit around the couch and spend his time either on the video game or listening to music or locked away in his room or in a different level of the house than you, right? He wants to be separate from you rather than spending that energy investing in you and investing in this relationship. Okay? Does that make sense to all of you beautiful people so far? I know some of these points are painful to hear me talk about, but you need to hear it. You gots to. You gots to, okay? I hope it all makes sense, and I hope it's becoming much, much clearer to you now. All right, let's go on to point number 5. And honestly, this will probably be one of the most painful ones, unfortunately. Okay. So, you need to take notice of romantic intensity. Like patterns and routines, romantic intensity is like a flow, right? Meaning there's a natural pace or feeling that you get from your relationship that you become accustomed to, okay? So let me give you an example of romantic intensity. That's going to be kind of painful, but I want to give it to you so that you can hear it from me, all right? So let's say, for the sake of example, right, you have, my drawing skill is getting better. How did I do that? That's crazy. I don't know how I drew that like that. That's real nice. That's real nice, all right? Let's just say, for the sake of example, you have this beautiful black dress that you wear, okay? And this beautiful black dress that you wear, whenever he sees you wear that, right? Let's say, it makes your dump truck look amazing. It makes your figure look amazing. It snatches you in. Oh my God, this dress was made for you, right? So when he sees you in this dress, he's horned up, okay? His soldiers standing at attention for you whenever you wear this black dress. So every now and again, when you guys will go out on your fancy dinner dates, you'll go out to a nice restaurant, right? And keep it fun, right? And he sees you in that black dress, he starts acting a fool, okay? He's touching all over you, kissing all over you. He's excited, okay? He likes to see you in that black dress. He likes the way your dump truck looks in that black dress, okay? So this is part of what I want you to take notice of as your romantic intensity, okay? Remember, I told you, there's a rhythm to relationships. And as you become accustomed to that rhythm, you start to feel what is natural to you and that person in your relationship. And I also want you to take notice of what becomes unnatural with you and in that relationship, okay? So let's say every time you wear that black dress, you become accustomed to his response, right? He's horned up when he sees you wear that black dress. He acts a particular way. He talks to you a particular way. He compliments you more when he sees you wear that black dress. That's like his thing that gets him excited. You know that. He knows that. You both know that. And so you pull that out of your bag, out of your pocket, whenever you know you want to get a really nice reaction out of him, okay? Now, let's all of a sudden say that over the course of time, now when you wear your same black dress, right? And your dump truck looks good still, right? And you wear that same black dress, right? And you know, your dumpy's looking nice, right? Right? Everything's looking on point as it usually does. But all of a sudden, when you wear this black dress, you get no reaction. He doesn't say anything to you. He doesn't touch you any more than he usually does. He doesn't compliment you any more than he usually does. He doesn't even make a comment on the fact that you're wearing that black dress that he likes. You see a different look in his eyes, right? And he just seems very disinterested, even though before he used to be so horned up, right? And you're noticing, right? Like I said, no reaction. You're noticing disinterest, and you're noticing a change in his response to you. And now, when you wear that same black dress, you're noticing a lack of intensity where there used to be intensity. Okay, this is why I said this has to also, what you also need to take into account is the natural ebbs and flows of your relationship. And so when you become accustomed to a certain level of intensity in certain situations in your relationship, i.e. in this scenario, when you wear that tight black dress, right, and you are used to getting a particular sort of response from him, and all of a sudden you wear that same black dress, nothing has changed about you, but you're getting a completely different response from him, right? Now you need to be looking into it, because that's a sign, once again, that he's beginning to emotionally detach because you are not exciting him anymore. And I know I'm relating it down to, you know, in between your legs, but in between your legs is attached to here. They all have blood flow, okay? And so I want you to understand, when you're noticing that difference in intensity in things that used to be very intense parts of your romantic relationship with him, that's a clear sign that something has changed within his heart or within his spirit. And you need to begin investigating that to figure out why something has changed, how it has changed, or if something has already changed that you are unaware of. Okay, right? And I want you to dig, because this is not nothing. Don't gaslight yourself into believing that it's nothing just because, you know, you don't want to believe that something could possibly happen in your relationship, or your man might be, you know, off somewhere else emotionally. I want you, when you take notice of these things, to dig. Now, I'm not talking about dig by saying, hey, did you cheat on me, right? That's not the type of digging I'm talking about. I mean digging like investigating. And when I say investigating, I mean investigating why or what has changed in his life as an external factor to why you're seeming to get a different response from him, okay? Now, maybe one show will have how to figure out if your man is cheating or not, but what I want you to understand is, if you are feeling or sensing some of the things that we talked about and discussed today, this is your time to dig more and gather more information, okay? Because not necessarily just because you notice him doing one of these things that for sure means he's already cheating on you, okay? But what I want you to understand is that these signs are absolutely, positively not nothing. And when you're noticing this, you want to start investigating immediately, right? And asking more questions, not only of yourself, but asking more questions of your surroundings and your relationship, to see if you can uncover the truth here. Okay. Unfortunately, the worst way to do that is to just ask him, are you cheating on me? Because you're never going to get the real answer. But maybe one show will have a whole in-depth how to be an FBI agent and figure out if he's really cheating or not. Okay. Does that make sense to all of you here? Okay. Do you guys have any questions about the 5 that we just discussed? Okay. So number 1 was routine breaking. Number 2, the lack of empathy. Number 3, always agreeing. Number 4, your energy levels. And number 5, the romantic intensity of your relationship. Okay. Michaela says, I'm not investigating anything. Hey, if you don't want to investigate nothing, you don't have to. If you want to know, if you notice these things and you say, hey, I'm Audi 5000 before I even investigate, sure, you can do that. If you don't even want to bother to know these things and you're like, forget it, I don't care, I'm going to stay regardless, you can do that too. All I'm here to do for you is to give you advice. If you want to know some knowledge about men and understand how they work, I'm here to give that to you. If you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm BSing, then hey, perfectly fine as well. Okay. Does that make sense? Right? Someone says we pull back. No, well, you can pull back, but you also have to understand in a scenario like this where he's giving signs that he's going to cheat on you, pulling back is not necessarily going to do what you want, because you also want to be uncovering answers as to what is going on. So yeah, you're going to pull back, but also you want to be doing other things in conjunction with that. And that like deserves its own show. Okay. Right. Someone says, is this the same for long distance relationships? Yes and no, because long distance relationships is very hard to gauge someone's emotional state, because you're in a long distance relationship. Okay. I wish that everything that I told you guys and talked to you guys about could perfectly apply to a long distance relationship. But the reality of it is long distance relationships don't really resemble what a real relationship is supposed to be like. Okay. So a lot of the emotional stuff, the mental stuff, the spiritual stuff that's supposed to be happening in your connection and relationship with someone is not happening in a long distance relationship majority of the time. Okay. Does that make sense? Because someone said, Crystal says, can someone tell me all 5 points? I missed them, or sum it up. You can just rewind it. You can rewind the live stream if you're on YouTube. Okay, right? Someone says, how do you investigate? That deserves its own show. Okay, chat. So maybe I'll do a whole show just talking about how to investigate, because that's quite a process there. Okay. Michaela says, oh, but you said we should live our lives if he starts acting up. I mean, precisely. You should always have yourself first and be invested in yourself very first. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't take notice of things that are changing with the man that you've been in a relationship with, okay? Never stop noticing things, observing things, and looking for more information. That doesn't mean you abandon the things that are important to you in chase of information and become an FBI agent, but you should begin asking more questions, okay? Asking questions is always good. Investigation is always good in a healthy dose that doesn't put yourself on the back burner. That's why I say it needs like its own show, because there's a science and an art to investigating without losing your mind and losing yourself, okay? Does that make sense? Low Gold Heart says the gut feeling never lies. It doesn't lie, okay? And your intuition doesn't lie, and you're a woman, so your intuition is very strong, and there's that's the whole purpose of this show, is that if you've ever noticed any of these things, or you are noticing these things, and when I'm saying that they resonate with you, I'm here to confirm to you that it's not nothing, okay? And that you're feeling that, or your intuition is communicating that to you for a reason, not for no reason, okay? So make note of that in your own mind and in your own relationships, okay? Because men are they find it very difficult to convey emotions that they find it very difficult to fake emotions in a deep romantic relationship, because eventually, after knowing a man for long enough and knowing him on a certain level of depth, it will become very obvious to you, the woman, when something has changed within himself, okay? I'm not talking about, guys who fake it when you first meet them and you only go on one date with them on Hinge. I'm talking about when you've been dating a guy and you've been learning and understanding him to be a very particular way, and then you start to notice slight differences in that. Guys aren't very good at hiding when they have been feeling a particular way, and then all of a sudden they're not feeling that same particular way, right? When they've been feeling romantically in love, they'll act and respond and approach you in a particular way, and then if things change, you're gonna very easily notice a difference in the way you receive him or the way he approaches you, okay? Ivy said start pulling the money out of that account. That's pretty funny, okay? All right, chat. Let's hop into our next segment of the day, which is going to be our React segment. For those of you who don't know, our React segment is where we react to TikTok videos and just, videos around town in the social media world about relationships and things of that nature. So we're going to hop into that next. Put your headphone emojis in the chat. Put your baby oil emojis in the chat. Put your camera emojis in the chat because we're going to be filming this in 4K and we're going to hop into it. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to clean this up, right? And I'm going to get this all settled, put my chair down. And while I'm doing that, you're not just going to watch me. We're going to watch an intermission video that comes from Matthew Hussey. He's going to be talking about the weird reason you're attracted to emotionally unavailable people. And I'll be back with you in a couple of minutes while Matthew Hussey and cleaning up while Matthew Hussey discusses with you being attracted to emotionally unavailable people, all right?
What weird reason could be responsible for us continuing in our lives to attract emotionally unavailable people? And what does going out to dinner and asking everyone else what they want from the menu before deciding ourselves what to get have in common with the phenomenon of attracting emotionally unavailable people? In this video, we're gonna find out. Before I go any further, have you liked this video yet? Have you subscribed to this channel? Have you hit the notification bell, the one that means that the next time I release a video, you get notified first? If you haven't, well, I would very much appreciate you doing all three of those things right now. I am Matthew Hussey, a coach specializing in confidence and relational intelligence. For the last 17 years of my life, I have been helping people all over the world find love. I am the author of the New York Times best-selling book, Love Life. If you haven't got a copy, go to lovelifebook.com and grab yours, either on hardback or audio, narrated by the author. Today, we are talking about emotional unavailability, specifically the weird reason why a lot of us might be continuing to attract emotionally unavailable people in our lives. So I got a question recently from one of my members saying that she was struggling to trust herself, that her whole life she had struggled with indecision over small things like what to order for dinner. She said she would literally have to go around the table and find out what her friends were getting first before she ordered her own dinner. She talked about how all her life she had picked men who were wrong for her, men who were players, men who were time wasters, men who had no intention of ever taking anything through to a long-term relationship, and that this pattern of attracting emotionally unavailable people is something she had had for a very long time. In fact, when she dated someone she described as a good guy, she said her friends would point out that she always found a way to sabotage it. Like anytime there was a guy actually treating her well, there was something about it that felt inherently uncomfortable or unsafe. She said she would always find something wrong with these guys. So she came to me and said that she wanted to disrupt this pattern once and for all, because she felt like if she didn't, she would never, ever find happiness. Not just in her love life, but in any part of her life where this lack of self-trust plagued her. So I said at the beginning of the video that there was a real link between not knowing what to order for dinner and needing everyone else's opinions first, and our propensity to keep attracting emotionally unavailable people. What is that link? Well, it all stems from a lack of self-trust. If we don't trust our own decisions, then we look for other external sources to decide for us what is valuable. If someone is deemed to be popular by everyone else, it feels like, oh, everyone's decided that this person is popular, so I don't have to think about it. I just have to go for this person because their value has been predetermined by their popularity. Another way we feel this is if a friend is telling us this person is amazing, this guy is amazing, or we hear people at work talking about how attractive someone is. We then feel like we have a green light to find them attractive because other people have said they are so. The same phenomenon takes place when someone is hard to get, because even if no one else in our world knows this person that is being hard to get with us, our brain makes a connection that if they are hard to get, they must be valuable. In other words, they're not choosing me. They're off somewhere else doing something else. They are rare. They are valuable. They have a status, and that's why they're hard to get. Very dangerous connection to make, by the way, that someone being hard to get is an indicator of their value. But when we're not trusting
for this, all right? Y'all ready for this? Let's start off with our first video, which comes from Dominique. Okay.
I cannot tell you how much guys love when girls do this. You have to understand that us as guys feel the best when our egos are insanely inflated. And I know what you're gonna say, ego's bad, blah, 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 but just hear me out. If you right now are trying to make a guy feel special and to feel supported and loved, whether you're in a relationship or maybe you're just seeing a guy looking to maybe date him down the road, the easiest way to do this is by giving him just the most unnecessary tasks in the world. And I'm talking like super simple tasks. For example, if you were to send him a text right now with a few different photos of outfits that you're considering on wearing, and just ask him which one he thinks is the best one, that would absolutely make his day. Another example of this is maybe you're looking to hang out with that guy later tonight. So you would text him tonight and say, hey, listen, I've had a long day. I'd really appreciate if you threw on a cup of tea for me and just had it ready by the time I came over. These are all insanely simple tasks to do. But us as guys, we love it. We love feeling like we're supporting our loved ones. We love feeling like we are giving to them and providing for them. I mean, it just strokes our ego. I don't know what it is. It's like a guy thing. And the best part is once you give him more tasks to do, he's just going to feel like he's going on these little side quests and side missions, and he's doing it for you. It's going to be amazing. Now, the most important part about this entire thing is you need to make sure that when he does complete these little missions that you're giving him, that you are just so grateful, thank him a bunch, give him a big hug, and just make him feel loved. I'm telling you, it's going to be a game changer for you girls. And just watch your guy just flourish into like the guy of your dreams, honestly. I cannot tell.
This is actually good advice. It's good advice from the standpoint of what he's breaking down for you is getting a guy invested in you by having him perform acts of service for you. So you guys have heard the idea of acts of service in terms of a love language. And a lot of men see what he's trying to break down. I'll break this down, sorry. A lot of men find it difficult to just come out and communicate how they feel towards someone, like saying, I love you, I care about you, right? Even to women, right, that they're romantic with. And they find it hard to connect what they feel inside with words, okay? It's just, for majority of men, not all men, majority of men. But what is more natural to men is to communicate how they feel about you with what they do for you. Going out and getting you this, like he mentioned, putting a pot of tea on for you. Oh, helping you decide what outfit, buying you something that you need, right? Guys are better at communicating the fact that they care about you through those acts of service than they are at communicating that through their words. Now, that doesn't mean every man you meet will never be able to communicate how they feel through words. And it doesn't mean that every man you meet will solely only be able to do actions. But what I'm helping you understand is that's more natural to men. Right? To perform acts of service for this person that they love or they care about. Easier, that's more natural to them than just talking about their feelings of how much they love someone or what they think of someone and things like that. So what he's trying to connect for you is if you can start communicating to guys like that and make it easy for them to communicate their feelings for you through action, you'll get a really good response from them because that's what comes natural to them. That's what he's essentially trying to break down for you guys there, okay? So it is good advice from the standpoint of if a guy's invested in you, this will feel the most natural to him to do services for you, to do acts of services for you, to express his feelings for you. Now, with that being said, if a guy's not interested in you, he's not going to do this, right? He's not even going to care to do any of this stuff because he's not invested in you whatsoever. But if a guy does like you, this is a great way to help him kind of express that through an avenue that's not words, right? And is more natural to him.
I don't know why people don't tell you this, but I'm going to tell you. There is no such thing as a best friend. See, you're supposed to go through life meeting people, seeing them for who they are, and you're supposed to enjoy life with them. But instead, we end up changing them, trying to convince them to have the same exact views when you can just see, oh, this is this person, they're not for me, and go about your merry way. But because we have been sold this crazy idea of having that really nice group of friends or that one close friend, we get obsessed with people. And we're obsessed with the fantasy in our head of having such strong friends that we don't even allow them to breathe. We don't allow them to have a separate personality. We don't allow them to solve their own problem. Now you get resentful. Now you get mad at your friend. Now everyone's toxic. Now everyone's bad and you want to cut everybody off. But again, you're going to repeat the same pattern in your next friends and your next friends. You are supposed to outgrow friends. You are supposed to outgrow jobs. That's a very normal and healthy part of life. So if you're friends with the same person that you've known since kindergarten and they have not evolved themselves, they've had no character development, they have no wisdom to give you, and they don't match your values, but all they really match are the fact that you guys have the same coffee order, you've shared the same school, same friends since God knows when, that's really never gonna grow you. And what's so interesting is that when you release those people and you finally hold and be honest to yourself about what you really want to do, you get that energy right back. Like canceling a subscription and getting all that money returned to you. Friends don't need to be exactly like you. They just need to like you. So now for me, I don't really care how my friends dress or what their coffee orders are, where they shop. None of that matters. What matters to me is that they're aligned with me. They have the same values as me, like wisdom, happiness, fun, excitement, growth. All of those things really define who I am. So now I'm not limited by having a convenient friend. I actually look for high quality friends because remember, at the end of the day, 4 quarters is still better than 10 dimes.
I'm glad someone sent this to me. I'm actually gonna we won't talk about this, but I'm actually gonna start a second YouTube channel to talk about more spiritual things. Aside from relationships that are more, for both guys and girls. But friendships is one of the things that I'm definitely going to be talking about on my other channel when I make it. Okay. Because it's such an important part of growth as a human being that you understand when you're in high school, your friends, you think to yourself, oh my God, I love this person. Oh, I want to date this person. Oh my God, this is my person, right? When you're in high school, you believe that people are for you simply because, you're there, you're going to the same school as them. You don't realize that your friends, when you're, still a teenager, are a function of proximity, meaning the people who are the closest to you, you end up making friendships out of those people because of proximity, not necessarily because they're the people who are the most aligned with you emotionally, spiritually, and all that other stuff. And what you realize as you grow older is that some of those people that you were friends with simply because of proximity, you are now starting to veer off from, right? You have different values. They have different values. You see the world differently. But when you're able to go places, you have a car, you are able to experience more things, you realize that the way you think and go about life could be very different from who was your best friend in high school and how they think and go about life. That's actually a good thing. It's perfectly fine and it's perfectly normal because you're not meant to grow in the same direction as everyone who went to your high school. Some of those people are drastically different from who you will end up being as an adult. You can go to a high school with a mass murderer. I should say mass unaliver, okay? You can go to a high school with some horrible people. That doesn't mean that, and you could have been friends with those people when you were in high school, but that doesn't mean that your values are aligned simply because you shared proximity to each other. And that's part of growing as a human being is understanding that you're meant to grow and get better and change over the course of time. And then the people who you align yourself with will change as well, okay? Does that make sense? That'll be for my other YouTube channel when I make it, okay?
How to stop obsessing over the person you're talking to and just have fun dating. The law of detachment, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about that. I personally am a very detached person. Sometimes it's a curse, but a lot of the time it's a blessing, and I have a lot of advice that I could give on this topic. And just so you guys know, the law of detachment in dating is literally the best thing you can do to get somebody to like you. Okay, the best and kind of the only thing you can do, if I'm being so honest. Obviously, being a nice person, blah, blah, blah. But if you really want to get them to like you, girl, this is it. Or boy, seriously, it works both ways. It starts with knowing that if something doesn't work out, it wasn't meant to. And you have to know that in your heart, that if this doesn't work out, it just wasn't meant to. And it's not that big of a deal. I think that's just the bottom line. Like, it's not that deep. None of it is that deep. Like, you have time to meet someone that you're actually going to work with. But if you're not working, you're not working, and it's not meant to be. And you can't force it. You know what I mean? Like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And I don't mean like date around, because you can totally be dating one person at a time and still not put all of your eggs in that one basket. Like, you should be thinking to yourself, if this doesn't work out, I'm gonna be fine. You should never be thinking, this is my boyfriend, we're gonna get married, first date. And sure, sometimes that actually happens. And if you know that for sure, and he tells you that, then great. But
Also, keep in mind too, she's not saying don't ever invest yourself in someone that it becomes your boyfriend. You've been dating for 2 years. You should believe that you're not going to be with them. That's not what she's saying. She's saying don't put that much pressure on yourself and that much pressure on them to be your happiness when it's not. That's not even necessarily going to be the case.
most cases, you should not be thinking that. And if you are, you're relying way too much on this relationship, and you need to be doing some deep inner work to realize what's missing in your life that you need this relationship to fill so badly. Because you should never be relying on a relationship in that way. You need to...
What she means is your relationship shouldn't be your sole source of happiness, right? Because if the relationship is good, that's good. But if the relationship is bad, you should also still be happy. Right? That shouldn't just zap your happiness away because your relationship's not going good.
Enjoy your single life. Because when you are having so much fun, or just like enjoying the independence of being single, you are going to be much more likely to be detached when it comes to dating and just look at it as something fun in your life. Because if you're hating your life as a single person, you're going to look at dating so much more seriously, and it's going to become this thing that's like stressful for you because you're trying so hard to get out of this single situation and you want to be happy so bad, so you think a relationship's going to fix that, and it's just going to backfire on you. The fact that you're becoming desperate in dating is going to stop you from finding a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Desperation is not attractive. So if you are so desperate to have a relationship, it's not going to work. But it's also...
I agree. She kind of goes on, but you guys get the point, right? It doesn't come across attractive to people when your sole source of happiness is them. And then in turn, as you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing to try and make this work, they pull away from you, and then you push more because you really need them to be your happiness. It's such a vicious snowball effect. And if you've been in it, you know how hard it is to not do that and to try and like make a whole 180 change. But that's the whole purpose of the Players Club, is to try and help you make that 180 change and stop making, especially the men in your life, like the source of your happiness, that you don't have anything for yourself outside of the guys that you date, right? Nothing wrong with wanting to date and wanting to be in a relationship, but that shouldn't be your only source of happiness.
The broke boyfriend hug is a TikTok trend where a guy hugs his girlfriend from behind when she pays for everything. This trend originated from the "he got no money" pose meme in 2019, highlighting the additional pressures women face in relationships. For a healthy relationship, it's essential to communicate with your partner about sharing expenses and household responsibilities to maintain a healthy relationship. The broke boyfriend hug is a TikTok trend.
Who sent this to me? This is WikiHow. Like, this is like a serious platform trying to...
Trend where a guy hugs his girlfriend from behind when she pays for everything. This trend originated from the "he got no money" pose meme in 2019, highlighting the additional pressures women face in relationships. For a healthy relationship, it's essential to communicate with your partner about sharing expenses and household responsibilities to maintain a healthy relationship.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, sure.
The hardest part about being chronically single is not knowing where you need to be. For me, I'm constantly battling. Am I even living in the right city? Do I need to move? Do I need to be somewhere else? Even when it comes to going out, I'm like, am I going to the right places? I need to be trying different places. Someone invites me out and I decide that I want to stay in. I'm tired. I almost feel guilty sometimes. Like, well, maybe if I would have went out this night, I would have met my future husband. I'm getting to the point where I'm 31. I'm going on 32. I enjoy my nights in, okay? I also enjoy having a small circle over a bunch of different acquaintances, but being single, I'm constantly like, okay, I need to meet new people because maybe new people will be friends with my future husband and that's how I'm gonna meet him. When you're chronically single, you almost don't have that moment and feeling of peace because you constantly feel like, okay, if I was doing XYZ, maybe, you know, I would meet someone. The truth of the reality is I'm 31. I'm not gonna stay in every weekend and have my same 3 friends and end up meeting my person, right? I do believe that whatever's meant to be is going to be in your timing, but to put yourself out there, you do unfortunately need to sometimes put yourself in situations that maybe you don't want to be doing. Maybe you want to be on your couch instead. I mean, to be fair, one time I did have a friend that literally dated the guy that delivered pizza to us, but to be honest, I prefer
Chat, tell me it's not to that point, or it can't, please tell me it's not to that point. I shouldn't judge. It's her friend's life. I shouldn't judge.
for a no contact delivery anyways. Does anyone else feel like this from time to time? Because it can literally be exhausting. The hardest part about
Chat, I'm not, I have to be honest about this. I'm not everyone has their way of going about stuff. And I don't want to make it seem like, because we talk a lot about emotions and stuff and, the spiritual side of things on the show. So I don't ever want you guys to think that I don't think that that's important in your relationships. But, chat, like, you have to understand when you're picking men, you also, like, there is a reason why they say, men are meant to be protectors and providers. Okay. So I just say that to say, like, pick men that can actually provide for you. I'm not saying you got to go full force, like, be like, how Shira says, and only look for the ugly rich men. But having a man that provides for you should be a prerequisite to the type of, character traits and qualities of a man that you're looking for. Okay. That doesn't mean you have to be solely money focused, but I wouldn't, okay, I'm not saying that someone else can find happiness this way. I wouldn't advise you to date the pizza delivery guy. And I know that was just a side note that she talked about. But still, it just, when I hear that, I'm just like, don't think that. The reason I say that is because I don't want you to think that your dream man is the pizza delivery guy because he probably has less going on. You can get cheated on by the pizza delivery guy as well. And the thing about it is that a lot of times the guys who are less intentional with their own life, meaning they just do whatever comes to them, they don't really have focus or direction, they're usually even harder to date because they have even less direction in their relationships, okay? That's not to diss anyone who's a pizza delivery guy, but the reality of it is the guys who don't even care about their life enough to have direction in it usually 100% of the time don't care enough about relationships to take them very seriously, okay? Because it's very hard to take that from not having it in your own life and then all of a sudden transfer it to having it in your relationships. It just doesn't really work like that. So just something to think about, okay? It's not all about money, but like being a provider and having direction and goals and meeting those goals and doing something with your life as a man is like, that's part of being a man, okay? Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe some guys are like, I want to play video games all day and I still want to date whoever, but that, I think you should be looking for a man, not a boy who plays video games all the time, only wants to be comfortable. That's not, no, you can't do nothing with that.
I have a hot take. Your female friendships should be one of the main reasons why you don't settle in a romantic relationship. Let me just give you guys an example here. So when I was in college, my roommate at the time came into my room, saw my room was messy, cleaned my whole room, folded all my clothes, and then baked me cookies for no reason. That to me is the epitome of acts of service and just showing love. Seeing the things that my friends do for me, I'm like, if I don't have a man who does this for me, then I need to reassess the situation. If you do not have good female friends who do those things for you, it's time to get new frickin' friends. And I feel the same exact way for my friends. If I see my friend dating some stunad and he's not even doing half the things that I do for my friends, then he's
What did she just say?
doing half the things that I do for my friends, then he's. And I feel the same exact way for my friends. If I see my friend dating some stunad and he's not even doing half the things that I do for my friends,
Stunan? What language is that?
then he's gotta go. That's a problem. I don't know, just a hot take. I feel like platonic love and platonic friendships should be the starting point for what you should look for in a romantic relationship.
There is actually something I want us to rewind here that she mentioned because it's something that I've discussed with you guys before. So I'll let her say it
So
again.
when I was in college, my roommate at the time came into my room, saw my room was messy, cleaned my whole room, folded all my clothes, and then baked me cookies for no reason. That to me is the epitome of acts of service and just
So what she just said here, because I talked to you guys about making sure when you go on dates, you give them horror stories, meaning horror stories of men that you've dated. But when they tried you, they tried to play you, they tried to mess with you, or they tried to go behind your back, you immediately got rid of them. That's a horror story. What you also want to tell them is the ways that you receive princess treatment all the time in your life from everywhere, okay? And in all your different types of relationships. So I know some of you are like, but Tomisin, I've honestly never gotten treated well by a guy before. Or Tomisin, I've honestly never been in a serious relationship before, so I have no stories of princess treatment to make it seem like that's what I expect. This is also a valuable option, and it's something that should be happening in your life if already, okay? And if it's not, we need to start working on that part of your life as well. Meaning, you should be able to give the guys that you're on dates with examples, if not of other guys, of how your girlfriends give you that princess treatment or go out of their way to do things for you. Because that's an example that, hey, I get this in my friendships and I'm accustomed to this in my friendships with my girlfriends. Obviously, you're not one of my girlfriends, but if my other relationships resemble this type of dynamic, why do you think that I would expect so much differently from you or hold you to such smaller standards, right? And it's still a great example of the type of investment you expect from someone who you're going to be investing your time in, okay? And the type of treatment you expect. And so if you have a friend like that, those are also great stories to give, like the one she just gave about her friend coming over and baking cookies.
and then baked me cookies for no reason. That to me is the epitome of acts of service and just showing.
So that's a perfect story to go on a date and talk about, right? You just weave in that story in the process of you talking about your life and things like that to help guys hear firsthand stories of you receiving princess treatment, even if it's from a friend, okay? It's a great way to do that. Someone said, can we lie? I mean, I'm never going to advise you to lie. It's your life. You can do whatever you want. But what I will say is better than lying. How about we build you up some friendships that you can actually have this experience, right? Because whether or not you're in a relationship, you should have some girlfriends that are emotionally support you, okay? I think, I'm a man saying this, I think it's very important for you as women to have other women that you can emotionally support you and vice versa. I don't think you should ever be of the belief that you should go about life like a lone wolf and never have other women who can emotionally support you, especially when it comes to the dating world. You'll easily put all your happiness in a guy if you don't have other women that emotionally support you as well, because anytime you're looking for emotional support, it'll be all about the guy that you're dating, okay? Let's go to the next one.
What does it mean if he says he's on the way
Nico.
and then doesn't show up and texts you at 4 a.m. saying that he fell asleep? Welcome to the Daddy Academy. Let's use our brains for a minute, okay? What do we think that means? Okay, there's really two options, and both are equally as bad, pretty much. One of them is that he fell asleep, but in someone else's bed. He's going to Bangtown, USA, right? And now he just decided to text you after the fact and just make up a lie, right? That's obviously like the worst case scenario. And then the other scenario is that he's just a big baby. He's a guy who lives in la-di-da-di-da land. He told you he's going to come see you and then took a nap and fell asleep and forgot and didn't wake up, slept straight to 4 a.m. He said he was going to come see you and probably, let's just say 9 o'clock and slept straight to 4. Straight to 4. You're telling me he didn't wake up at any time and realize, like, first of all, I'm too anxious of a person to, when I make a commitment to go see somebody or to do something, like, I'm not going to take a little, like, cat nap. I have way too much anxiety for that. I'm going to be there. I'm also very punctual, always on time. So if this guy, let's assume, like, he wasn't banging somebody else and he made a promise to you and then fell asleep, like, that's not a great trait in a guy. Like, that's like, what? I don't know how many dates you've been on with this guy, if this is a first date, second date, fifth date, but definitely a bit of a red flag. Like, you gotta do a little bit more investigating and kind of like figure out which option it is. But yeah, not a good sign. What does it mean?
Here's the thing that, okay, obviously that requires a little bit of nuance. Not any time that he says he fell asleep is necessarily going to mean that, he's sleeping with someone else. But what you want to take notice of in that is patterns of behavior. And actually, we kind of talked about this today, right? Patterns of behavior will let you in on if something has changed or if, this is just the regular type of behavior. Because a guy saying that he fell asleep when regularly he goes to bed at midnight, very strange. Excuse me, right? Very strange. Because if you're starting to notice differences in the timing that he goes to bed randomly throughout your relationship, then clearly something has changed on his end, okay? And actually, it's one of the exact reasons why I just advise you guys to never be doing long-distance relationships, because you'll get messages like this, oh, I fell asleep. And really and truthfully, because it's a long-distance relationship, you have no idea what that person was doing. And especially if it's a long-distance relationship where you've never met them, you don't know where they were, you don't know who they were with, you don't even share friends with them, and they could have been doing absolutely anything in that time while they said they were sleeping. And you have no way of verifying that. That's why I hate long distance relationships, honestly.
You just can't get jealous when your man is attracted to another woman. Let me explain.
Okay.
The shapes of a woman's body is telling his brain that this creature can support a human child. It is just a biological response that is embedded into all of us to ensure the survival of the human race. The ability to see it this way completely takes the power away from that attraction. As long as they're not taking action on that attraction, then there's no reason for you to have to feel jealousy. You just can't get jealous when your man is attracted to another woman. Let me explain.
I mean, this is kind of one of those things that, like, I mean, cool, it sounds good in theory, but is someone not going to be jealous when their man is, making googly eyes at another woman? Like, realistically, you can't just turn that off. So I think rather than just us talking about how you should not be jealous because a man's horned up looking at another woman, let's try and figure out how we can, like, either rechannel that energy into a different place or, something else we got to figure out, because I don't think the answer is just to not be jealous. You know what I mean? And I don't think the answer is to just, pretend like it's not happening, especially if it's happening in a disrespectful manner, because I'm not sure if she's describing it as an overt act or if she's describing it as something that's just casually happening. But I think there is a line there where if someone's making it obvious that they're checking out other people in front of you, then that just becomes disrespect outside of the jealousy thing. Yeah, I think she was trying to cook here, but I don't know if she cooked here. Okay, chat, do you think she cooked? I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to think a lot of y'all men are sus, because y'all end up getting the baddest shorty out of your league for real. Like, you wasn't even supposed to be seen with her. You really look like a booger on her arm. Like, y'all two don't match, but you got her somehow, and then you get her and do her dirty.
This is, like, so specific. I feel like he's talking to one of his friends that he really wants her girl. Am I right, or am I just tripping? I don't know.
Like, what the fuck part of the game is that? I'm convinced it's because a lot of y'all niggas don't even belong with these women. And deep down, y'all know that. But somehow,
I feel like he wants one of his guys' girls. I feel like, I don't know. The way he's talking about this, I feel like it's been on his mind looking at one of his guys' girls. Maybe I'm
got a
tripping.
trophy. And now you feel like, damn, I need to get off and make myself feel better. So I'm going to do this bitch dirty. Y'all niggas wrong, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Somebody gotta talk about it. And I believe y'all be fumbling because you know deep down you don't belong with shorty, because the only reason you next to her is because...
Why is he talking like that, though? I'm tripping or no? Like, why he? I mean, I'm. What he's saying is true. I'm not saying that what he's saying is not true. But the way he talking about it, like he really like, yo, you be doing her dirty, bro. Like, if she had a real man that would take, I tell you, boy, like he want one of his guys' girls. I'm telling you.
Because of that pay. A lot of y'all men wouldn't even know what a bad bitch smell like. Y'all wouldn't get next to him if it wasn't for some pay. Literally, I wouldn't even know. That's why when you get it, it's just like, damn.
You know how guys be saying, "Oh, so you like bums? Those are the type of guys you like. You like bums, don't you?" It's like he's sick that this girl he wants the other guy.
I don't know what to do with it, and now you feel like, I gotta show off. I gotta buck up a little bit because the money ain't enough. Then at that point when they get comfortable with you outside of the money, now what? Now what you giving them to respect? And now these women getting that bag like you, so what are you going to be able to bring outside of that bag? What? For them to respect. 9 times out of 10, nothing, right? If that's all you got. So then y'all get to thinking, oh, I got to do this dirty to get some get back. And that's the only body you was blessed with in life. Literally.
Why is he talking like that, yo? Oh, no, maybe it's just, I think it's because I have guy intuition. The way he's talking, yeah. The way he's talking, he wants someone's girl specifically. This ain't, you don't pull up the TikTok app and start recording this out of nowhere. I'm telling you.
You just threw that all away. Y'all be sus, dog. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all be cheating for no reason sometimes. Cause y'all be cheating with a shorty that look like a gremlin.
I speak man, so he didn't make that video for no damn reason. I'll tell you that, chat. I'll tell you that. He wants someone, girl. If you know who this is, he might want you. While you playing, okay?
Tisa said that her biggest lesson in that whole ordeal was learning that desperation is a dangerous thing. I knew I had really done the work from healing from my previous marriage when I was willing to walk away from good men. Let me cook. Desperation is a phenomenon that a lot of us don't want to talk about, especially when it comes to experiencing loneliness as a single woman. I just want to be the first to tell you that loneliness is not a problem. We all experience loneliness when we are lonely. It is your body and your mind telling you that it needs something. That something is connection. The problem is a lot of the times we try to cure loneliness with romantic partnership, even when we're not necessarily ready for it or have the capacity for it, as opposed to enduring the discomfort of it and finding other ways to build community. Because the right thing at the wrong time is still the wrong thing. So you may get a good man, but fumble a good man because you're not in the space to have healthy communication. You're just trying to fill a void. And anything that is just trying to fill a void will not actually accomplish what it was intended to do. So when you are lonely and desperate, or lonely or desperate and dating, what happens is you just try to fill the void with anybody who looks good enough. One of my best friends, Christian sexologist Brittany Broaddus-Smith, often says that when you date or when you do things from a void, you're just bringing yourself back to zero. 0 is just the threshold for you to survive, not maintain or thrive. And usually once you date somebody that gets you to 0, you start to be bitter, or you start to feel like, dang, like this really isn't enough. And you think that the issue is the relationship, but it's really where you are and the work that you have or haven't done. And even if the issue is the relationship, you chose that relationship because of where you were at the time. And now that that person got you back to 0, you realize that 0 isn't all that you need and it's not enough anymore. So I realized that I was ready to get married again and contribute to a healthy relationship.
So something interesting that I want to mention to you all that I think would be a good piece of advice, and we talk about this a lot. When you go out and you're thinking, hey, so where should I find the guys that I'm looking for? Your mind shouldn't be focused on finding the guys that you're looking for. Your mind should be focused on doing the things that interest you, right? Building community, having your life be full. And I know that every time I say it, you guys just think, oh, it just sounds like some vague thing, but it's actually pretty simple. Just start doing things that you enjoy doing. Okay. And if you can do that in a group setting or around other people or around like-minded people, even better. Because when you start doing those things, right, your heart and your spirit becomes full, right? You feel like you have somewhere to be. You feel like you have people to connect with. And what you don't realize is that loneliness is not always necessarily feeling like you're lacking a romantic partner. It's feeling like you're lacking, human connection. It's feeling like you're lacking the ability to like share with someone, to feel what it feels like to be a human being connecting with other human beings, right? Laugh, have inside jokes, even do some casual flirting, whatever it may be. And that building or surrounding yourself with a community of people or joining a community of people, especially when they're like-minded to you, can fill your heart and your spirit where you no longer approach relationships from a very desperate standpoint, right? Or a very desperate emotional state, because your spirit and your soul is full with connection that's even platonic and not romantic at all. And when your spirit and your heart is full like that, you're able to meet people and see, whether you're connecting with them, you're able to feel that. But if you're not connecting with them, you're okay with that because your heart is already full with all of this connection. But when you're really lonely and you're void of that connection, literally anything will do, even if it's horrible. Okay, that's why I always encourage you guys. And that's why my literally biggest project that I'm working on in secret for you all is to go out and build communities and find your tribe of people, not just be solely focused on the dating aspect. You understand what I'm saying? Because finding your tribe of people and filling your heart, mind, your soul, your spirit will make your dating life so much better. Okay. Let's do one more. We'll do one more.
I don't give a fuck where you would go for your dream vacation. If the world was ending in 30 minutes and you were trapped in a room with your ex, would you hook up with them? Brother, If your fingers were 5 spouts and you could only drink from them for the rest of your life, what 5 drinks would come out of them? Right? Do you have baby wipes in your bathroom? If I was watching the show My Strange Addiction and then all of a sudden I see an episode with your face and name on it, what would your addiction be? If you had to wash your brain, would you use hot or cold water? What's the difference between these two? We have Y-O-U-R and Y-O-U''R-E. Okay, so we're going to start with Y-O-U-R. What does that one mean? And how do you use that one in a sentence? All right, and then moving on to Y-O-U''R-E. What does that one mean? And how do you use that one in a sentence? You were on My Strange Addiction. You said fucking York's was your only prescription. She ain't got nothing on me.
Who sent this to me?
Needless to mention, all them booty flakes that you got brewed up in your kitchen. You use hot water to wash your brain.
Is this a choker or is this a tattoo? I'm so confused.
But not to wash your ass. You're dumb as fuck because you don't know the difference between love and lust, or me and her, or your and your.
What is the purpose of this video?
5 drinks would come out of them, right? Do you have baby wipes in your bathroom?
All right, chat. We're gonna go into. I don't understand. I think I think my type of Gen Z is a little bit too. I don't know. My Gen Z is different than her Gen Z. I think I don't understand her type of Gen Z because maybe the rest of you. Let's go on to our next one. All right, chat. For those of you who don't know what time it is in the chat, please, I'm so confused now. Please let us know. I'm doing a whole bunch of different stuff. Let us know in the chat what time it is if you know what time it is, because it's a very special time. It's an amazing time. It's a time where you're going to laugh and you're going to cry. Okay, please spam it up in the chat if you're aware what's about to happen, because I don't want you to look at your clock. I don't want you to look at your watch. I don't want you to look at your phone. I don't want you to look nowhere else in your home. It's a special time. I'm going to tell you the time if you don't know the time. Oh my gosh, is that sweat? Time! I've been working hard in this. I'm sweating up in our armpits and stuff like that. All right, chat. Let's get up in our Discord time. For those of you who don't know what this is, I'll explain it to you because I know some of you are confused. So Discord time is essentially where all the members of the Players Club Discord get an opportunity to ask me a question in our Players Club Discord, and they get to ask me about their relationship or situationship, and I answer their question live on the show. Now, you have a few different ways that you can submit a question to me, and I'll explain those to you. The first way is to submit your question to our free relationship advice section in our link in the bio on TikTok or the link in the description on YouTube. Just hop into the Discord and do that. Make sure you structure it how you're supposed to. Now, I'll let you know something though. You see all these highlighted questions? These are questions I haven't yet gotten to. So in order for me to answer yours, it's not going to be today if you drop it into the free section, because I have to go first come, first serve to all the people who came before you, okay? Now, there's another way. If you're impatient and you don't want to wait for me to, weeks for me to get to your question, you can also drop your question into our premium relationship advice, which is here in our same Discord, and you access that through the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description. Click where it says premium relationship advice. You donate to the show. When you donate to the show, you're going to get, you're going to be able to drop in your username and the title of your question. That way, I know that that's you that is supposed to be here, and I use these. These is like a skip the line pass. So I go through premium questions before I go to our free questions, and it's like the option for you to get your question answered ASAP if you don't want to wait, okay? Now, we also have a private relationship advice section as well for those of you who want me to answer your question, but you just don't want to have your information on Front Street. You also have that option, and when you send me in a question, I respond to you via your email and I send you back a voice message, okay? A lot of you have been doing that, so I got a lot of private questions to do now as well. All right, so let's start off with our premium Discord question here, which comes from Vicky, okay? So Vicky says, high value. My question today is regarding how you speak a lot about when we meet someone new that we should make it seem as if we're treated well in our last relationship. We literally just talked about it, okay? Didn't accept bad behavior, which I have done a lot in my life. Now, how can I navigate my current situation? I would generally consider myself a high value woman, financially stable, organized, emotionally intelligent, take care of myself mentally and physically. However, I went through a bad breakup a couple of years back and went on a total rebound to a complete loser. Okay. I ended up getting attached to him as I was in a very low place at the time. Anyway, thank God I'm out of this situation. The thing is, I live in a small city where everyone knows each other's business, either through knowing people or gossip. Now, two guys that kind of know the loser guy from afar know about what happened. I was badly physically beaten at one point. I'm so sorry. And wait, what happened? They're showing interest, the guys that know what happened. But what can I say on dates since they know I dated a low life and accepted crap behavior from him? Okay, Vicky, this is a good question. So to answer your question, I actually talked about this a little bit earlier. If you are in a situation where either you haven't dated, been in any serious relationships, or you don't have the best history in a relationship where you would have some good stories to tell of princess treatment, what you can do instead is talk about your friendships. So if you have a friendship in which your friend does a lot of nice things for you, goes out of her way for you, you can use those as your stories that you talk about on your dates, okay? Also, what you can do is, if you don't have a friendship, then maybe a family member, right? Family members going out of their way to do things for you. If maybe your dad has gone out of his way to literally do things for you, or your brother or your mother or whatever, right? The whole purpose of these stories is to paint a picture that, hey, the people in my life that I invest my time in, they treat me well, okay? They go out of their way for me. They make sure I'm taken care of. That is the lifestyle and the treatment that I'm accustomed to, right? Because remember, when you're meeting people, he's also learning you. He's learning you and learning what you accept and learning what your life has already been since before he met you. So you're kind of painting this picture that, hey, my life is this particular way. People treat me well. People treat me with respect. People put their best foot forward. I get princess treatment from my family members, from my friendships, from here and from there. And that is the lifestyle that I'm accustomed to living. So you're actually subconsciously painting a picture for guys that, hey, if you can't meet those standards or expectations that I'm already accustomed to, there's a very little chance you're going to get, you're going to get access to me. You're not telling him that, but you're indirectly showing him that by describing how your life has been since before he met you, okay? And vice versa, when you describe how horrible you get treated by all your friendships, your family members, and ex-partners, well, now you're showing him, hey, if you want to be in my life, you can meet me exactly where I've been living and how exactly I've been getting treated by all the people I'm supposed to love and be close to, okay? So it doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic partner. It can also be a friend or a family member. Just make sure that the way you're describing your life and the stories that you are describing are in line with, receiving princess treatment and receiving really good treatment from people in general, okay? And then the second thing with that, of course, he knows about the situation, but what I want you to do is, I don't want you to lie, but I want you to kind of readjust and reshape the perspective of that relationship. So whenever you guys are talking about that, even though he knows what has transpired, I want you to say, the person that I've grown to be now is so much different, stronger, intelligent, capable than the person I was then, that the person I am now would never even give that guy a chance or an opportunity to shine my shoes, okay? He couldn't lick the bottom of my soles if he begged, okay? You need to paint a picture that as you evolved and as you grew into the person that you are now sitting at this table, those people that treated you badly couldn't dream of getting access to you again. So this ex or whatever, you should paint a picture. He couldn't message you. He couldn't call you. He couldn't send you a note. He couldn't come to your door. He couldn't pull up on you. He couldn't talk to one of your friends. You make sure it's very clear that as you grew and realized your mistake in being with him, that you immediately stopped his ability to ever access you again. And in the future, you would never make that same mistake again. That way, you don't have to lie, but you're also making it very clear that that is not what I will continue to accept in my life or in my relationships. So don't think that you're going to be able to come into my life and who I am now and repeat that and be able to have me stick around and continue to talk to you and accept you into my life, okay? So it's kind of a horror story in the sense of who I am now doesn't accept those things. And you want to make that very serious and very clear, okay? It's got to sound like a horror story. It can't sound cute and cuddly, all right? Let's go into our next question here. Our next question comes from MC, okay? Did we do MC? I thought we did. Okay. MC says 34 is confused on a boundary setting and want to learn for future relationships that the recent boyfriend isn't putting in effort. Seems men, after they get your commitment, just relax on the couch and no more effort. Not proactive in planning dates. My favorite is hanging out at home with you and we do our own things or watch something together. Been outside. Oh, we did do this one. I remember us doing this one. Okay, let's do, the next one. Our next one comes from Nikki. Melissa, sorry. Melissa says, hi, Tomisin, feeling too alone. Hi, Tomisin, I've been on on the conservative side about not having pineapples too quickly. Your advice helps to keep that standard and observing men's actions before jumping into bed with them. However, why is it highlighting all the ones that we already did? What the heck? We already did that one. Okay, Kim E. Okay, Kim E says, in a long distance relationship, 6 months. Okay, Kim E says 60 black female dating a 56-year-old black man. He asked me to be exclusive with him in a 6-month long distance relationship. He is in Kenya for business. He is in Kenya or from Kenya. Stayed in contact with me through text and phone calls and video chat. We have a strong soul connection. Okay, this is a picture of you. Thank you. Wait, what? What's the question? Oh, we have been doing deep conversations. Just that he hasn't set a meet yet because of a building project he has invested 54% in. And he has asked me to get my passport, which I did with the money he sent me. Okay. We both want to get married to each other. He talks about a future with me and traveling together and the plans he has for me. We just haven't talked about when we will be together until I asked when was his daughter coming to visit. She is coming in December on winter break. I asked if he could send for me to fly with her to see him, where I could be with her while he is at a construction site. Okay. Okay. All right. So, I'm just trying to figure out what the exact question is. So, are you trying to say, like, what should you do in this scenario? Well, here's the thing. A couple of things that I have to kind of lay out for you. If you have not met him yet, meeting him and his daughter is a little bit inappropriate. I get it that you are eager to meet him, but if you've not yet gotten to know him on a one-on-one level, like that is the priority before you also meet his daughter. And like that, there's supposed to be steps towards the end goal of being together. And you get there by, you first have to acknowledge, do we have a vibe here? From what I'm getting here in your relationship here, I don't know if you've ever met him, right? Because all you talked about, right? Text and phone calls and video chat, and you have a strong soul connection, but I don't hear you talking about actually seeing him in real life, okay? Deep conversations over the phone isn't a substitute for real life. And obviously you guys are far apart. So I'm not saying that, it's your fault because you guys are far apart. But what I am saying is there's an order of operations, meaning you need to meet him first, just him. And then once you've met him, just him a couple of times, you see that you like his vibe, you have that same deep conversation and deep connection when you're together with him in person, then you can start thinking about, okay, when you, meet his daughter and things like that. I just don't think it's appropriate for you to go to see him the same time as his daughter is going to see him, because one, that's his daughter's time with him. Okay. And number two, meeting his daughter the same time you meet him, just is a recipe for confusion, because like you need to know if you and this guy get along first before you even start meeting his daughter. That just throws a wrench in things unnecessarily. So I think that's the most important thing. I also think in a long distance relationship, Kimmy, it should not be you bringing up how you would accomplish seeing him in real life. And I know that this is painful, but you, in a long distance relationship, you have to allow men to show you how much they want to see you by bringing it up and then actually going through the process of making it happen. You cannot be in a position where you're saying, hey, since your daughter is going to be on winter break, why don't I come with her? The moment you start suggesting things or suggesting the hangout or the logistics of how you're going to, see him or spend time with him, that immediately means he does not have the interest level required to be doing that himself. Because any guy who's emotionally invested in you and wants this long distance relationship to work will be telling you how badly he wants to see you, and he'll be trying to figure out himself how he can see you. You won't be the one having to bring that up or figure out how that's going to happen. And so if he's too busy with his building projects and the things that he's doing to ever think about how he's going to see you in person, leave him be. Okay. And I know that's painful, but the reality of it is once this starts happening the first time, you'll only continue to be more frustrated trying to get him to like want to see you or make it happen over the course of time. Okay. So don't waste a whole bunch of energy and time doing that. Okay. Let's go to our next question here. Our next question comes from Sis. Okay. Should you thank, I guess a simple question. Should you thank the guy after the date or not? Okay. So after going on, let's say a first date with a guy, I think you should, assuming he does everything right, he's a gentleman, he pays for the date. Yeah, you thank the guy, hey, I appreciate going. Now, thank is a very specific type of thank, Meaning you thank him as in you show him appreciation for going out on this date. And if you enjoyed your time, you let him know that you enjoyed your time with him, right? And the fact that, that you guys were here, you had a good conversation, and you appreciate him spending this time with you, right? That's the kind of thank you, right? You don't need to say thank you. Oh, thank you for paying for my meal. That's not the type of thank you that you should be giving, right? The thank you is the appreciation for, hey, I enjoyed spending this time with you. I enjoyed going out with you. This was a really nice time that I have. You don't need to follow it up by, oh, let's go on a second date. That's his job. You just say, hey, I appreciate having your time and spending this time with you because I liked this time that I was able to do. I had fun. I laughed. I cried. I whatever. I felt joy. I feel good about this hangout that we did in this time that I spent here. Okay. So yes, you're thanking him, but you're not thanking him for paying for the date or being a gentleman. You're thanking him for the fact that you appreciate spending time with him, that you also enjoyed. Okay. That's the type of thank you, right? SH says, so we don't thank you for paying for the meal. I mean, you can say thank you in the sense of, I appreciate that. But see, here's the thing. I don't want you to think that, hey, I need to show a guy that, when he pays for my meal, I'm thanking him for spending the money and paying for the meal, right? You show him appreciation for showing you a good time, right? And I know that it sounds really, really complicated, but what I want the focus to be on is I appreciate you investing in me and investing in trying to build a good relationship. And I enjoy the time that I'm spending with you, right? You don't want it to be, hey, just simply thank you for paying for my meal as if that was something you're worried about. You understand what I mean? I want you to rather be focused on, hey, I appreciate spending this time with you. And I appreciate getting to know you. And I liked having this time with you, right? That's the type of thank you that actually, makes a difference and feels good, right? Because that's what they're more worried about, especially for a first date. You don't want to, sometimes if you're just like, oh, thanks for paying for my meal, guys can start to feel, well, like, oh, was that the only thing you really wanted out of the situation? When you thank them for their time, and the effort that they put into the date, it makes them feel as if, oh, you are more invested in them as opposed to them just paying for the date. Does that make sense to you all? Right? Let's go to our next one. WWXO says, fearful when it feels too good too soon. Hi, wanted to ask you your opinion / hear your perspective on being fearful when it comes to pursuing a new relationship. My last few talking stages have ended abruptly in some form of ghosting, just for them to resurface months later, apologizing, admitting that they were fearful of how much they liked me. This feels too good too soon. Suddenly, I'm anxious thought process from them, admittedly. I guess from one angle, I could have the satisfaction that those feelings were admitted to me, but it's more jarring in the moment than anything. Such sudden loss of genuine connection. Because of this, I've been reading more about attachment styles, fearful, dismissive, anxious, etc., and feel like I can resonate with all of them to a certain degree. I mean, it's kind of like a spectrum, right? You don't have to think of yourself as all of one thing, right? They're just more like guidelines. After the fact is where I start to overthink any of my own actions. Not so much in the moment or in a premeditative way. I've felt comfortable in how I've handled myself until mutual energy suddenly isn't reciprocated. For instance, I debated on letting myself wish a recent talking stage a belated happy birthday, who is a fearful avoidant, who left my most recent message beforehand of this unanswered. So this was my first double text attempt at reaching out. Why? Why? My question is why? Okay, let's go on. He sincerely thanked me and ended up apologizing for being MIA. So let's see if something changed. Saying that he hasn't been able to put his feelings into words the way he'd like to and had too much fear, that he was in fear that too much time had passed. Then suggested a time for us to talk on the phone. I responded with, I appreciate the apology, and I just kind of took you not responding as a response, I wanted to respect your space. You were sweet to me on my birthday, so I wanted to say something when I saw it was yours. It would be nice to call you again and catch up. Okay, so you're adding a lot. Okay, you're adding a lot. I'm not saying it's wrong to be nice, but you're just adding a lot. All you have to say is okay. No response or follow through. LOL. Happens every time, huh? Happens every time. I tell you all, okay, WW, you're going to learn this as well, because I say this all the time. Do not bother trying to remind men of your existence. Don't. Just don't. Just don't. It's always a waste of your time, because the reality of it is when the men want to contact you, they just contact you. Anytime they don't contact you, it's because they really didn't have the desire to contact you, okay? It's kind of a version of if he wanted to, he would, but at least when it comes to contacting you and messaging you and reaching out for men, it's always if he wanted to, he would, okay? For other things, it can be a little bit more complex, but when men want to reach out to you and they have your number, they have your social media, they are able to text you, they just do that. Okay, you don't have to convince them to do that, and you don't have to remind them to do that. So I know you thought, oh my God, this is probably such a great thing that I messaged him, because now he's realizing that he really actually wanted this relationship and he really actually was prepared for this. And it was my text that reminded him how prepared for this he is. You got firsthand knowledge and a firsthand experience that it doesn't do nothing. It really doesn't. And you're not going to remind a guy and stimulate him over by texting him 1 or 2 times to be able to remember your existence and then magically want to be in a relationship with you. Okay. In the moment, I really didn't think twice about the way I worded this message, but after the fact, especially when it didn't get a response, I wonder if it sounded cold/brash. See, now you're scrambling. You're thinking, oh, what could I have done differently in my message that would have made him actually follow through? Nothing. Because the reality of it is he never originally had the level of intention required to be in a relationship with you. If he did, he would have been reaching out to you. Okay. So then you go on to say, due to the character limit on the details, I had to leave out in order to get to the gist of what I wanted to say in the first post. Long distance, unfortunately, being one of them. Valid. Lots of room for potential hurt there, especially when he's had previous negative experiences to create an underlying fear of a partner being unfaithful. Okay, thankfully there was never a chasing dynamic from either one of us, only comfortable mutual pursuit. Okay, but he's the man. So when he stops that comfortable mutual pursuit, you then have to say to yourself, okay, you've shown me what you actually want here or what you're actually willing to do, and I'm not going to be desperate for your ongoing attention. No unnecessary texting, nagging, hello, haven't heard from you type of energy, which was the most difficult part for me to digest when communication abruptly stopped, and not on a bad note. I decided sending a birthday text was a neutral, even positive opportunity to test the waters, reaching out, saying something with substance and actual intent versus just empty chasing. Always unfortunate when the dynamic shifts regardless. Totally understand about being the chemical perspective. Positive energy was very much mutual before the pull away, so fear certainly plays quite a heavy role in the mix as well. Any perspective on dealing with a long distance situation? My advice to you is don't do it. Okay? That's honestly my advice to you. Okay? WW, don't do a long distance situation. Because it's just a waste of your time. And in a lot of time, what you'll find is guys will chit chat with you over long distance, never actually go through the effort of seeing you in person. And then you'll just have a pen pal that you message and maybe you FaceTime sometimes. But if you're never seeing that person in person, or there's never any build up to spending time together in person, what's the actual point then? What's the actual purpose then? Because you'll chit chat forever and never actually meet each other. And a lot of times those guys will begin building physical relationships with other women. So what's the point then? Okay. And I say this to say, I get where you're coming from in terms of thinking that that was a good idea to just send him a message and just reach out. And it was your first time ever doing that with him in terms of double texting. But you got firsthand knowledge and firsthand experience that it's a waste of your time to reach out to someone who has had your number. Especially when it comes to guys that you are romantic with, they don't automatically just forget that they were romantic with you and then stop messaging you because they forgot. Okay. And even if he's saying, oh, well, I was overthinking and I was fearful of this and fearful of that, you also can't do anything with that, because guys who are too much in fear to take any action is a waste of your time. You can't be investing yourself or trying to like help get a guy to be confident that has no confidence in like putting his best foot forward in the relationship or taking an opportunity to have this relationship, right? Taking a chance, I should say. Because if he's too fearful to do that, what are you supposed to do with that, right? You're supposed to try to what? Get him to be confident enough to take a chance on this relationship? That's not your job, right? Your job is to receive. Your job is to be in your feminine energy, not to convince a guy that you're worthy of him pursuing, whether it's from a fearful state or not. Okay? All right, chat. That's the show for today. I hope you guys got some value for that. If you guys have any questions for me, feel free to send it into our premium relationship advice or our free relationship advice section. Also, our private relationship advice is all available to you in the link in our bio on TikTok or the link in our description on YouTube as well. For those of you who are on TikTok and you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is just Tomisin_Tub on top of my head right there. And for those of you on YouTube, it's Tomisin_Tub. It's in the description somewhere. You can find my Instagram. You can follow me on there. For those of you who are on YouTube and you want to rewatch the show because you missed some points or you just want to see some of the stuff that you found was funny or interesting, you can always rewatch the show. It's just my name on the top right corner of the screen, Tomisin Atobatele. And you can type in my name on YouTube. You can rewatch the show in its entirety. Go into the live section and you'll have this live show along with all the other live shows we've done since the beginning of time, okay? And the best part is you'll have the YouTube and the TikTok live chat embedded in the video for you, all right? I'm here every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So until we meet again tomorrow at 4 p.m. EST, goodbye for now. Arrivederci, au revoir, hasta la vista, sayonara, adios. Ciao, salam, bon voyage! And I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Someone said I'm looking forward to your spiritual shows. Oh, trust me, we gonna have fun. Oh, also, let me react to some of these donations here. Thank you so much to you guys in the YouTube chat. So generous. Valeria donated $10 in the YouTube chat. Thank you. And Nicole donated $10 as well in the YouTube chat. Nicole says, thank you, Tomisin. I'd rather go through these things with you than with a man I'm falling in love with. Yes, this was painful, but necessary, like a surgery. Sending some Auntie Nicole love. Thank you, Auntie Nicole. And thank the rest of you as well. So good to spend this time with you. And we'll be back tomorrow to talk about love, life, and relationships. And my new channel coming. That's going to be a spiritual channel. I might have to put that on a hush hush. You might just have to find it if you find it type stuff. Okay? All right. See you tomorrow.